Do and we are live. Awesome.
Awesome.
All right, guys. So this is Canine Freedom interview number 2, and it is with a friend of mine who is also local in California with me. Her name is Elizabeth Berry, and she's gonna go ahead and just give a quick bio about herself, or just what her business name is, what she specializes in, and where she's located. And then as you can see on the title, we're going to talk about the separation anxiety in dogs. So Liz, go ahead.
Hey, I'm Liz. I run Postmore Kennels in Novato, California, and pretty much specialize in anxiety in dogs. So separation anxiety, fear anxiety, all that good stuff. So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So right now, let's just talk about separation anxiety and COVID puppies.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know,
Yeah, it's the worst right now.
yeah, because people have nothing to do at home, and then they decide, oh, this is the perfect time to get a puppy. Like,
Yep.
just stay at home with the dog and just love them, and like
Never
walk them every
leave.
day, never leave.
Yep.
And then worst nightmare is like when they finally leave the dog for, like, I don't know, McDonald's or like a part-time job,
Yep.
and then they scream bloody murder, and then they're like, what do we do about it? What can we do? Like, there's noise, there's so many things that could be going on. It's like noise complaints, or just, you
Hurting
know,
themselves, breaking
hurt.
kennels,
Yep.
like that's all the
Yeah.
stuff I've seen. And like I've seen it a lot recently, again, because of COVID and shelter in place, everybody's staying at home, whether it's a brand new dog or not, everybody's staying at home. And then they like leave for 5 seconds and all of a sudden their dog's like, oh my God, you've been with me for 3 months straight nonstop and now you're leaving, and they go in panic mode. So
Oh
um
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like there's COVID ruins so many patterns with dogs, whereas like they were going for a walk, or like they they were just away for like certain hours, but now it's like 2 or 3 months they're home, and then it's like their whole pattern is just redesigned to where it's just like, I follow you everywhere, and
yeah.
you get those dogs that follow you into the bathroom,
Yeah,
and
I was just
like
about to say.
the
Yep.
the bathroom, the kitchen, like even when he's about to fall asleep, you move, he's like, "Where's mom?
Yeah.
I gotta get going."
And like I feel like the other problem is like a lot of people were like, oh, get up at 6 a.m., walk the dog, feed the dog, go to work, and like it was such a good pattern. The dog was getting exercise, and now they're like, oh, I'm gonna wake up at like 7 and like get my coffee, then do like Zoom work, and then go for a walk, and then it just like never happens because when you work from home, you're just kind of like, oh, I'll get to it, rather
Hmm.
than like, oh my God, I have to walk my dog at first thing in the morning because then I go to my 8 hour job, and then
Yep.
yeah, so like dogs aren't getting walked, they're getting to sit in owners laps as they do Zoom. Like it's just all bad, and then now we have these fires and all this smoke, so like
Yep.
then people really aren't walking their dogs, which is like the number one way to release energy. So yeah,
Exactly.
making it
Exactly.
a hellhole.
Yeah, it really sucks. Like, I know, like, I have this client right now with this Pomsky. His name's Remy, and I think, oh, it's his birthday yesterday. So quick shout out to Remy and Gary. But yeah, like, he screams bloody murder, and he's 75% husky and
Oh my
like 20% Pomeranian. Like, he looks like a little wolf. It's so funny.
God.
But it's like, yeah, it's really hard. And then, like, Liz, in your perspective, when it comes to separation anxiety, like, what do you what do you see with dogs that, like, even before the separation anxiety happens, like, what do you see before that? Like, what are the prerequisites that you notice that the dog?
Um, so like really like I see it a lot in rescue. So like as you know, I do like a lot of rescue work and stuff.
Nope.
And a big issue is like dog going from home to shelter to a different home to a different shelter, going back and forth, and then they kind of don't know where their place is, and they don't have a set schedule in life. So then every single time something changes, they get in anxiety mode where like, oh my God, what's happening next? So
Mm-hmm.
any like unpredictability in any dog's schedule is going to cause anxiety, whether it's separation anxiety or not. They're still getting anxiety. Like dogs just want a schedule. They just want to know exactly what they're doing every minute of the day. That's why, we like to be really structured with our training so a dog never like second guesses what's happening next, right? So
Right.
we get these patterns where we change their life up, whether they go into a bunch of different foster homes or you just change their life, with COVID staying home, and then they don't know what's next. They get anxiety about change. So,
Yeah.
and you finally get a dog from a rescue or a shelter or something, and they have separation anxiety because they're not sure if that's their forever home or not. And then
Yeah.
and to give up before they get into a routine. And then once again, that dog gets a life change, and then that's when separation anxiety just gets at its worst. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where a lot of it. I hate to say it, but like a lot of rescue dogs get it because they just are so used to unpredictability, and it gives them anxiety. And then with like getting a brand new puppy and then spending 3 months straight with it, and then going out to dinner, and you come back to like a beat up crate or chewed beds or everything that anxiety brings with it. So.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And hey Shelly, hey Kelly, hey Mario, what's going on, guys? Thank you for joining in and watching. Yeah, I also feel like too, it's like it really depends on the relationship between the owner and the dog.
Yeah.
Because it's like if the if you have like a giant like 80-pound dog or a little lap dog that just sits on you, just come into your space like all the time and just never learns to like give you space, and like it just with you 24/7. It's like a really unhealthy relationship. Like I always compared like the obsessive dogs with like unhealthy relationship with humans.
Yeah.
It's like, like with your husband or wife or kids, it's just like you ask for them to go to the different room, or you ask for them to you establish like boundaries and space.
Yeah.
And so that's where I feel like a lot of people at this time, they're just like, oh, come cuddle with me. Oh yeah, come sit on my lap, even though you're 100-pound dog. And then it's just like whenever they come up, they're just like, oh, that's fine, I'll move. They never say like, hey, I need space. I need you to go. Or like even just practicing like a place command, or just
place, yeah.
or even just having like the crate in the room where it's just like you're still with me, but just way over there. Like work on social distance with your dog in the house. So
or just like having a bubble with your dog. Like, this is my bubble. We don't go in it unless you have permission, kind of thing. Because, and a lot of people do it, like especially like when they're on a Zoom call or sitting at the dinner table or whatever.
What happened?
Okay, I'm back.
There we go.
So yeah, like I was saying, like a lot of people don't realize they do it when their dogs come up, and nudge their hands for a pet or whatever. They just always tend to do it, and that's kind of like letting the dog have free range of whatever you want to do. I really like the place command, like you just said, because like during dinner, during our Zoom calls, when we're answering the door, we say, you go to place, you're there, you kind of stay there until you get released to do it, and it gives some boundaries, and not feeling like the dog always has to be right next to you. It gives them a little job. Go to your place. That's your job right now. It's not your job to be at my feet answering the door, walking from the bath or to the bathroom with me, that kind of stuff. So yeah, like you said, place is really awesome for that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like I feel like definitely with rescue dogs, and just just that extra nurturing, it really creates a bad case of separation anxiety. And especially it's like when new puppy owners, by the time it's a thing, they're like, oh, we had no idea that we were doing this intentionally. We just thought what we were doing was typical, right? So so I guess we can talk about this. Let's talk some strategies on how we can help the public with like separation anxiety. So like if you had a client with a dog with separation anxiety, let's say it was just what are some procedures, or what are some things that you would suggest that can help in that, or just as a starter up? Yeah, just to make it better, or just like you go with your go through like a training plan with like separation anxiety, and
totally.
give us like an idea.
So the first thing I always try to introduce is crate training. Like that's number one. you know, the problem with separation anxiety is you can't just normally crate train your dog and kind of be good with it. It takes a lot of repetition, a lot of like planning on your part. You have to do a lot of mental exercise and physical exercise before you start it, because you can't put a, you know, high anxiety dog into a crate and expect them to learn like a normal dog, because they're separated from their owner, let's say, and that causes the separation anxiety. And then they, you know, immediately go into panic mode, and that's when they hurt themselves trying to break a crate, all that good stuff, or I guess bad stuff. So I always recommend some mental training in there, and some physical training in there. So the other thing that a lot of times go wrong is we're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to exercise my dog for 4 hours and then stick him in a crate and then leave. And that's going to cause, you know, that's going to help the separation anxiety. But that just exercising your dog physically to the point of exhaustion is not working the brain at all. So then you stick them in there, and even though they're physically tired, their brain's still in anxiety mode. So um, we do a lot of relationship building, which burns the brain energy, and then we work on the physical drainage, and then we do crate training. So it's always like a 3-point process. We go over mental exercises, physical exercises, and then introduce the crate. And then when we introduce the crate, we do it, you know, in 5-minute increments. We put them in there, wait 5 minutes, kind of let them out when they're calm, and you know their energy's drained, so that we can slowly build up to leaving the house for an hour, or whatever our kind of end goal is.
Yeah.
You know, the problem, I mean, there's not a problem with trainers, but a lot of problems is, you know, with separation anxiety, they're like, oh, just put them in a crate and let them cry it out. But like, that's just building anxiety up. That's not, you know, that's not doing anything but causing more anxiety. So,
Good to know. Good to know. I was like,
yeah,
with puppies and crate chain, I was like, okay, but then like, I used the answer, but separation anxiety. Okay, okay, that's
yeah,
good
yeah,
to know.
yeah, like totally. A normal dog, a normal puppy, I'm like, crate, cry it out for a little bit. You'll be good. You're not dying in there. But with a dog that's like an active anxiety, it just builds on their anxiety and makes it worse and worse and worse. So
Yeah.
until you drain some of that mental and physical energy, you're just going to do worse throwing a separation anxiety dog in a crate and expecting them to cry it out. It's not the
Right.
same as a puppy, you know, learning that they don't need to cry to get what they want. So yeah, that's kind of the distinction. Separation anxiety causes more anxiety to throw them in a crate. Puppies, you know, got to learn to cry it out a little bit. So
Yeah, for sure. Hey Tracy. Hey Carrie. Hey Alex. Yeah, thanks Tracy. This is just this is the second interview. We've got like I got like 8 more after this, so there's so many. I even have like Larry Crone. I think like
oh
later on.
really?
Yeah, I was so nervous about asking him, and then he was just like, "Oh, dude, that's fine." I was just like, "Okay, cool." I'm saving him for last, though. I don't know what topic to talk about him
Yeah,
yet,
yeah, get
but
used to it a little bit and then do him.
oh yeah, this is. I even bought the headset just for this interview. Just
Oh,
it's legit. But yeah, I mean that you did bring up a good point where it's just like physical energy can only get you so far when it
yeah,
comes to just doing it. Like and you can probably go in depth with like with the mental exercises that you do, but like probably it probably involves with like mental enrichment with like maybe Kongs or maybe nose
supplement.
work, snuffle mat.
Yeah,
That's always super helpful. Like for me, I just tell my clients like, grab your dog's kibble, throw it out in the backyard. Let them go
yeah,
look for it. They
yeah,
don't pay you rent, so might as well work the food for something else, right? Um, and I mean tricks. I mean like is there anything that you would add or missing that you would do?
So I always, for most of my clients, I always add meals into training. So
Yeah.
whether they're on kibble or raw, it doesn't really matter. So you know,
Hmm.
with kibble, that's easy. You just use it throughout the day for any kind of training you're doing. A big thing I like to do is like take their kibble and put it like underneath a box, or underneath like a plastic bag, or like in a box with like newspaper in it, something that makes sound that gives them a little bit of like, oh god, that's kind of creepy, and then they
Hmm.
do it and they overcome like the confidence booster with their owner. So I always like to have the owners do something that makes the dog a little bit nervous, but they overcome it. So then they're like, oh yeah, maybe my owner won't put me in a position of danger. Like it's okay to do this. So like a box with newspaper and their kibble in it is really awesome, because it makes weird sounds and it moves around your floor, and then they
Yep.
get food after it and they're like, oh awesome. Same with like a chair. Like taking a cookie or kibble and putting underneath a chair, so they have to kind of bend down low and crouch to get it. That's a really good mental exercise.
Yeah, just body awareness and just
Totally.
to climb over obstacles and stuff. Okay, I like that. That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Let me see. I think we actually have our first question real quick.
Cool.
Let's see. I'm reading from my phone with the comments just because I still have to figure this reading the comment things out.
Yeah.
So glad to hear this interview. I need help with this. Yep, Carrie, we're doing this interview like as a Remy's birthday gift. So more gift for you, but like helpful for Remy. So
Yeah.
would you say, oh, my dog just burped in front of me. Lovely. Would you say it is separation anxiety if I leave and my dog lifts his leg indoors? Tracy, like he's having like he's peeing when
like
you're gone?
Diving where he's peeing on stuff when you leave?
Yeah, like Tracy, is he like just peeing in general when you leave? Be a little bit more specific so we can we have an idea. And then while we wait for her comment, but yeah, that's cool. So like just balancing the mental and the physical exercise is always good.
Yeah.
What would you say? Like, do you set it up the situation where the clients are leaving and then they leave the dog in there for a certain amount of time and then come back, or
as far as the crate goes?
Yeah, as far as the crate goes, or just setting it up where we're pretending we're going to leave them for like a little bit, like 5 or 10 minutes, and then like coming back or something like that. Like, do you have any procedures?
Normally I start it with like going into a crate, literally going outside the room, like going into the next room, and then coming right back, opening, releasing, like really quick. Because anything like a lot of clients are like, oh, I'll put them in there and then I'll pretend I'm leaving, I'll open the door and then I'll shut it and they'll think I left the house, and that just puts a dog immediately in anxiety mode. So we just want short little bursts, like you're in the crate, I'm going around the corner, I'm coming back, I'm letting you out, and they're like, okay, awesome, that wasn't so bad. And then we add it more. We go and sit in the other room for a minute, and then we come back and we let them out. So like it's a really it's a lot of repetition and it takes a really long time. Separation anxiety isn't like a one session and done kind of thing.
Right.
If a dog is in like true separation anxiety, you're gonna spend like 3 months, 6 months, 8 months working on it. My very first dog that I ever worked on for separation anxiety, which was actually my first dog, took like a year and a half to get her out of separation anxiety. So
oh wow.
It just depends on how intense it is, and then also it depends on how well a client does homework. So
right.
So yeah,
and
it
then,
takes a while.
Yeah, and then like for that like session that you were just talking about with where they leave the room, then they come back, like do you give like a time period, like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, where you just have them repeat that, or just like one time?
So it's like based on the dog. So I try to not get them like past their threshold of anxiety. So it's custom to each dog. So you'll kind of leave the room, and when you like slightly hear your dog maybe going into like that kind of short whine, you'd run back in, let them out before they really get into the mode of like barking and scratching kind of thing. So it's per dog. Just like crate training, you don't let the dog out till it's calm. With separation anxiety, it's kind of opposite. You let them out before they start to get in anxiety mode. So it could literally just be shutting it and then opening it right up, and you're standing there the whole time. It just depends on how bad the dog is, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't think about it that way. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And then like as far as like, because you know how dogs can read patterns, and they can like they know when people are putting on their shoes, their keys, and they like can tell when they're changing in the pants, like that, like
or grabbing the leash, or
yeah, exactly. So like because dogs are so pattern based and how they can catch on right away. Like I read this book, I think it was like Sue Steinberg or something like that, where it was like actually, hold on, I have the book right here. Aha, there it is. No, just kidding. Patricia McConnell. Wow, I really botched that. Like this one.
Yeah, I have that too. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like there's something about the pattern change, like you like put on your pants, you take the keys, but then you put the keys away, and then
Yep.
you like do you do anything like that in
Yeah,
particular with
totally.
them?
So
Okay.
like 10, 20 times a day, you'll walk past, put on your shoes, your dog will get in that mode, and then you'll take them off and put your shoes back. So slowly it becomes something that doesn't matter in the dog's life. They're like, oh, that crazy lady of mine is putting on her shoes and taking them off again. It doesn't mean anything. So then that way it's not like, oh, every single time she puts on her shoes doesn't mean she's leaving. Sometimes she puts them on and takes them back off, and then we sit on the couch together. Same with keys. Like, I always recommend that clients like jingle their keys a whole bunch. So the dog's like, oh my God, are we going? Okay, we're not. And then
Mhm.
pretty soon they're like, okay, when she's actually like putting a leash on me and at the door, that's when I'll get in excited mode or whatever. So yeah, we make it not matter or not mean anything in that dog's life anymore. So the shoes, the keys, even grabbing the leash, you know, 10 times in a row, not actually going with
Right.
the dog, those kinds of things help a lot too. So the same with the crate. You put them in the crate, 10 minutes go by and you never leave the house. You could even just be sitting in the same room and then you let them out. Because then
Yep.
again, they're like, oh, well, she's coming right back. I should just chill out. And then in dog mind, that time goes further, further, and further. And then you get to that point where they put them in, they're like, no, I'm just going to chill because I know she'll be right back. And then you're gone an hour. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and yeah, that makes sense. And I sort of had that thinking too, where it's like if the dog can't accept the fact that you're in a different room while he's in the crate or away from
yeah.
you, then there's no way that he can he'll calm down when you leave the house,
Yeah.
especially when they hear like the car engine and they hear the car getting out of the thing, they hear the car door close. Like
Yeah.
just having all that is a big pain in the butt. How dogs are really so
Keen
they
on what
you
they're,
know well yeah, they have like they have good sense of hearing, smell too. So it's just like you can't lie to a dog. It's just so
yeah, right.
difficult. So um yeah, so like right now it's like along so mixing that with the pattern based, just putting on keys and that and then the crate.
Yep.
Um when when someone has to go for work or it like I can see where the client is when he has to go to work for real and
Yeah.
like have to leave the dog eventually.
Yep.
Like is what would you suggest for that kind of situation, like to because it's hard to like not get the dog over a threshold, but
Yeah.
then the person do have to go to
Like to
work.
go to work and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like the cases that I kind of do, which are like really intense with separation anxiety, is a person has like got to the point where like they're like, my dog is never alone. Like whether one part of the family is always there, or they hire a house sitter or a day sitter or whatever, a dog walker or whatever to like take care of that dog. So a lot of
Hmm.
cases I do, people are at that point where like they're like, literally, my dog is never alone because the separation anxiety is bad. But for people that are like in already like, oh, I go to work and my dog's fine while I'm at work. It's just like when I leave for dinner out of the schedule, that's when the separation anxiety comes on. And then that's a lower case of separation anxiety because the dog is fine unless it's off schedule. And then it's like, oh my God, why are you leaving? Those
Hmm.
ones I would still put in a crate and be like, let them cry it out because they have to learn that sometimes the schedule changes. But if you're to a point, especially right now when people are like doing COVID and working from home,
Hmm.
um, you can't just throw the dog in the crate. Like, let's say you have a dog that has separation anxiety, and then you're like, oh crap, like I go back to work on Monday, like my dog's gonna freak out on me.
Hmm.
Um, that's when I would, rather than traumatize the dog and throw him in a crate, I would suggest getting a dog trainer, a dog walker, somebody to kind of help you with that time because
Yeah.
if let's say you're like, I know my dog's having separation anxiety but I have to go back to work, no more Zoom calls, I have to actually go into work, and they think, oh awesome, I'll just throw them in this crate, they'll cry it out while I'm gone, that's going to cause more damage than
Hmm.
like actually putting the effort in to be like, hey, I'm going to get a dog trainer for these days, I'm going to get a dog walker for these days, um, so that the dog can get used to that kind of schedule and you can leave for work, because so many trainers are going to be like, throw them in a crate. But with for separation anxiety, again, that's just going to make it worse.
Yeah, and
That's panic mode. They're gonna hurt themselves. So,
yeah,
but really, separation anxiety to that point takes so long that I seriously doubt anybody in shelter in place has a dog that's that bad. Like
mhm,
it's just going to be a low case of separation anxiety where the dog's like, oh my God, where are you going?
yeah,
Maybe they'll chew their bed, maybe they'll go potty in their crate, but it's not going to be to the point of like hurting themselves. That takes a really long time to build up. It's just like a habit. It's not just going to happen overnight. It's not going to go
yeah,
away. It's not going to show up. That's going to take a while. So if they're to that point, they've already changed their life so their dog's not home alone like ever from what
mhm,
I've noticed. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's about getting a good team together to help your dog, and I
Of
believe
course.
in dog walkers and dog trainers, obviously. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, especially there's a couple businesses that are struggling right now during this time. Some are
yeah, totally.
flourishing, some of them shut down. So it's like,
Yeah,
you gotta go support those local businesses, and
yeah,
even, and it's like everyone's just like, oh, but that's over my budget. Like that's so expensive though. And I'm
yeah,
like, I tell them, I'm like, honey, this is not,
yeah,
a dog is like a child. Like
yep,
children, you have to put in college funds, and like
yeah,
you pay for car.
yeah,
With a dog, is like that's nothing compared to what you're paying versus a kid.
yeah,
But like if you really love your dog, you should probably just learn the budget, or just like put, rain money to the side
yeah,
when the dog goes wrong, kind of thing, for like dog training or like
yeah,
daycare. And it's like not every day you're gonna have to take them for daycare and things
yeah,
like that. It's just like just those certain days where you feel like you're gonna have those longer hours, or even if like I have them, I even tell people like, do you have friends or neighbors that want to come by and hang with the dog? Just for now, until the dog starts to get comfortable with
yeah,
you leaving. Then it's like we can leave. Like I don't like Liz. I don't know. Like with people that work like 6 to 8 hours, like for me, I'm comfortable leaving my dogs maybe like 5 hours or 4 hours,
yeah.
but
I agree.
like I think it's definitely more difficult for those. I think it's definitely more difficult when people leave them for like the 8 hours or like 10 hours. That's where I like say, okay, you definitely
Like,
need someone to come over
yeah,
to
dog walk or something to take care of.
exercise your dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Carrie's comment. Guess I need to put more work into Remy with this. No quick fix. Darn it, LOL. And
Yeah,
she's like, I think she was talking about when people were working. I feel like that's me. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a quick fix. It's very hard. Angel, Tina, they're all coming in. See if that question came by. She said, yep, lifting his leg on the wall or table, legs, not urinating.
No?
Not urinating. So wait, Tracy, is he like climbing on like he's scratching on the wall, or is he like, because because lifting legs, I usually assume he's peeing on
Yeah,
stuff,
that's what I thought too.
or I don't know, maybe well, maybe if you can send us a video, or if like you can just send me a video since you're friends with me, then I'll have a better idea.
Yeah,
Then I'll
I'm
be,
curious about what he's doing when she
yeah,
leaves.
I'm like, is he doing acrobats, or is he just doing yoga or something? But that's interesting.
Well,
Okay,
like
yeah,
really, dogs aren't conniving. Like they're not going to do anything because of an action you did. They're just going to be in like a state of mind of anxiety or happiness. So it's probably just whatever he's doing, whether he's climbing furniture or peeing, it's out of anxiety. It's not like a spite thing. Like no dogs are
yeah.
spiteful, you know?
No, dogs are spiteful. Although sometimes I do feel like they do. Like again, like my Chihuahua. Like sometimes when it's like a bad day, or like when we bring a dog in for like a day or two,
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm gonna poop in your room." I'm just gonna poop in your room because I did not say you were allowed a dog in here. I'm like, sometimes am I even? I ask myself, am I even a dog trainer sometimes with my
Yeah,
dogs?
right.
Um, but cool. But yeah, so okay, so just to run it down, because this is also for me too, because it's like I don't know how to do separation anxiety. It's
Yeah.
like I wouldn't have thought about that until, that's why we brought you on board to just
Yeah.
share your knowledge with the public. And
Thank you.
and also anyone up in local, that in Nevada, or like, that need a trainer up over there, don't call me, call Liz. That's more convenient for her. Get some business. Oh wait, okay, hold on. She just commented. LOL. I will. He literally lifted leg when I walked out and I caught him doing it. So Tracy, is it peeing because
Or like he's about to pee.
yeah, he's about to pee because we're sort of confused because you just said the other comment that he's not urinating. So
She might have just caught him like in the act of about to pee, you know?
probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, like how would you like, and then the other question I get a lot from clients, and it's like, I know it really depends on the dog and how much time you put into it, but
Definitely.
how will you know like when like your dog is gonna be okay with just like I know I don't think separation anxiety you cure or get rid of. It's still there, but it's just like you just really
It's
condition the
under
dog, right?
yeah.
Management, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, there's no like curing it. I mean, my Rottweiler that I had, Maui, I don't know if you ever met her, did you?
No, but I did see pictures of
Okay.
her when you were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she's really cute.
she was like to the point of breaking windows. That's how bad her
Mm.
separation anxiety was. Um, she would break out of a crate and then out of a glass window of my house just to sit by the front door to wait for me to get home.
Mhm.
So like she was to the point of like separation anxiety. Like I went to 3 trainers because I wasn't a trainer at the time. And they all told me that I'd have to live with it or put her down. That's how bad her separate. Yeah,
What?
yeah. So
What?
I actually like sounds so crazy now, but I actually moved to LA to work with a separation anxiety trainer to help get her out of it. And he said the same thing. You're never going to cure it. It's just going to be manageable. But I got to the point with her that I could just leave her. Like, she didn't have to be crate trained anymore. I could be like, peace out, I'm going. And like, yeah, she'd follow me to the door and be like, where are you going? But then, I had cameras in my house for a little bit. And then I'd watch her go just lay down and kind of wait for me to come home, and maybe pace a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. So it can get to a point where you're enjoying your dog. It's no longer a stress. But I had to like actively work with her every day before I left the house. There was like not really a day where I was just like got up and left.
Mhm.
Like that was the part of separation anxiety in her that never cured. I had to walk her. I had to do some sort of training with her. If I was going to be gone like a lot of part of the day, she had to get like an 8-mile hike or something. So it's never fixed. It's just you learn how to deal with it. So again, it's like every single dog is different. Um, but there's a point in training with separation anxiety where, you say crate and they just walk to the crate, you give them your frozen Kong, you shut the crate, you cover it, and all's well. Like everybody just seems calm and you leave the house.
Yep.
So it's like, it's about every single dog. It's about the homework that you do into it. Um, it's about making sure that you, as much as it sucks to say, that you don't slip up, meaning that you're like, oh my God, my dog's done. I'm good. I don't have to do any of that stuff anymore. And then all of a sudden, like 3 weeks go by and you have a dog with severe separation anxiety again. So,
Yep.
like, I don't want to like not give hope to people that it can't be cured, but it can be managed. I mean, yes, for 10 years, I had to walk my dog every single morning before I left the house, but it was managed. I could leave her. And if I
Well,
didn't
yeah.
not walk her, of course she came back to being anxious when I left. But yeah, so
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the thing is, it's just like separation anxiety is like one of the many like behaviors that, us dog trainers are like saying that it has to be managed,
yeah,
because it's like, you know, and it's hard for, and I think it's hard for us trainers to deal with, put up with it, because a lot of clients, they expect, hey, here's some money, fix my dog.
yeah,
And they want it to the point where they can just relax, like go to Hawaii or something, and the dog,
yeah,
it's like just lounging. And it's like, well, this is coming from experience from us, because it's like you said, you had 10 years of like, you dealt with a lot of that until she got to a certain age where she didn't need to worry about it.
yeah.
And then it's like a lot of people right now, they have adolescents or like young puppies, where it's like, for me, I say it really depends on how much you work on it. It really depends on this dog. And just just having and seeing where it goes, and like how Liz did it with like cameras, get nanny cameras, get
Yep.
like cameras that you can look on your phone, because you're gonna need to, especially if if like hold on, there's another topic I want to talk about. Let's see. Hold on, Carrie just asked a question. What about natural calming meds? Do they help? Okay, like I guess CBD or just like calming stuff like Adaptil. Like, do you have any thoughts with that?
So I always think that like any kind of meds or herbs or anything that you're doing for your dog is just masking the problem and not like getting the root of it. So a
Hmm.
lot of times
Yep.
like people will say like, and you know, I know we do dogs, but like in cats, if you add any calming meds to a cat that let's say is like in a car moving or whatever,
Hmm.
they're in anxiety and then that makes their anxiety more intense. It doesn't calm the brain down. Like
Right.
it can calm down a brain that's already kind of calm, but an anxiety brain that's not going to calm down is just going to make it a little bit more intense. So I think it does the opposite.
Yeah, I would think because the dog is like induced, and then it just gets more like
Yeah.
funny. It's sort of like when you trank a wild animal, and then it starts to get like it'll get it'll try to compensate by getting more intense,
Yeah.
rather than like you calm down. So
Yeah.
yeah, and gotcha, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey Emily, got one of those crazy dogs right now. Ugh, crazy dog, hound, equal climb. Yep, hounds. That's
Yep.
really bad. So actually, there's one book I was curious if you read or not, Liz. It's it's like separation anxiety versus containment phobia. Like, have you?
Is it? Yeah. I've read
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So like I know some of the and like this where I just wanted your thoughts on this just because I have you here. But it's
Yeah.
like, do you feel like some of the occasional dogs that giving them the more giving them like like the like more space versus just like the containment is like versus having them in the crate, do you think that helps with that? Helps with it?
No. So
Okay.
like if you think of it in like, you know, they are animals, which we tend to forget because there are babies too. But
Yeah.
if you think of it like in the wild, they're if somebody leaves that's in charge of them, that protects them, that feeds them, that you know makes sure no coyote eats them.
Hmm.
If that person leaves, they're left in charge, right? So
Yep.
if we have a little crate, they're going to look around and be like, "Oh, this isn't much to be in charge with. You know, I'm going to go to sleep." Whereas if you give them, let's say, an X pen, like a big round pen, you're going to leave and they're going to look around and be like, "Oh my god, I have to take care of this whole spot," you know. So the smaller the containment, the less they have to worry about. So
Hmm.
with anxiety with dogs, they just want to know exactly what's expected of them. They want to know what their schedule is, and they want to know exactly when you're coming back, right?
Yep.
So if you give them a little spot, they're going to look around and say, "Oh God, this is like nothing. I have nothing to really take care of. I'm going to, you know, take a little nap, and when my leader comes back, she'll take care of the wild animals that are, you know, outside this crate," kind of thing. So no, I think
Yeah,
more space
definitely.
would be worse. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because it was just so interesting just reading it between like the containment phobia versus
Yeah.
just like plain anxiety, which is hard to tell sometimes if you're not like keen on it. So,
Yeah.
um, but okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, so the crate just working on just leaving and coming back in, changing the pattern. Whereas like you put the keys and then you put on pants, then to
Yep.
take off pants, you put the keys,
The keys in
and
the
then
door.
keys
Yeah.
at the door. I honestly feel like you just keep the keys on you the whole time when you're at the house, just like put it in your PJ pockets or something, just to get
Yeah.
the dog
Yeah.
used to it. Mental exercise, is not. It really depends on the dog on how much progress you make and where do you think you're at with it. Get
Yeah.
nanny cams.
Yep.
If you are working 8 hours or like 6 hours or even 5 hours or something, there's so much resources that dogs aren't cheap. So
Yeah.
like daycare, dog walking, or a dog trainer that did day training, or just
Yeah.
like the dog can take him out for a couple of hours to work.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys gotta find out what works for you, and if like this video is just to give you guys like an idea of what you could be doing. But if you're struggling with it, like just contact a dog trainer. Like right now, support a local business, help them out by letting them help you, and it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
And let's see, what about destructive behaviors? Dog will injure themselves. Let's see. I put the hound in the crate. Very small. You can't stand up. It helps. She still screams and cries when owners are around. Da, 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 da. Well, okay. So I guess, yeah, Liz, what do you think with like the dogs that injure themselves? Like when it's that severe, like
Yeah.
do you have a more intense like add-on with everything that you said, or?
So with that question, were they asking that, are they saying the dog's getting hurt when he's put in a crate, or just in general, like in the house?
Well, right now, Emily's a dog trainer up in Virginia, and she's
Okay.
like, she says, I put the hound in the crate. Is very small, where she can't really stand up. It helps, but she still screams and cries when owners are around. And then she's asking, like, what about destructive behavior? Dog will injure themselves.
To get out of the
Yeah,
crate.
yeah.
So that just means that that dog's not ready for the crate. So like I said
Uh-huh.
before, when we're starting crate training, like day one, let's say, we're not necessarily like shutting the door of the crate. Like
Hmm.
we're, you know, either using a leash to guide in the dog, throwing a treat in to guide in the dog, and then they can literally go get their treat, turn around, and come back out. Because
Yeah.
I want them to know that the crate is safe, and we're not necessarily going to shut them in there right now because again, that puts them in panic mode, which just makes anxiety more intense. So, I've had clients where we literally walk the dog into the crate and walk them back out for 3 days straight. Like their dog's not ready for the door to be shut. And then we start adding stuff like eating breakfast in there with the door open. And then we eat dinner in there with the door open. And then let's say week 2, we eat breakfast in there with the door shut, and then we eat dinner with there and the door shut. Like it's you can't just throw them in there and let them cry it out when they're having anxiety.
Yep.
So it might take, with that kind of
It'll
dog, it
take a
might take
while.
the owners, 3 weeks to get to the point where they can shut and lock the door. We have to build
Or
up.
10 years like you, where it's just like
Yeah.
tell the dog.
Yeah.
Actually, Emily just private. Yeah, actually, Emily just private messaged me. I think she was late to the interview, so um, she just asked, "Does it ever get cured or just management?" So, yeah, Emily, if you watch back earlier, and I'll have it on YouTube too. It's basically just a lot of repetition. It is going to be management, and then like it again. It really depends how much you put into the dog, and then
Yeah.
see if we can give a little bit of leeway. Just because it is hard. It's hard to tell at
Yeah.
that point. So um, I guess like when you find out, like when you try to find out when the dog's a little bit better with the anxiety, do you like you like how people like test it out and then they're like, oh, relax. Do you just do you like give it? Do you like try a day or like a few days where you're like, let's just see what happens, and then to kind of test it out, like just out of curiosity.
So no, not particularly. I mean,
Okay.
I might be like, hey, normally the dog's in the crate. Let's say we get to a point where the dog's in the crate for like 2 hours, right?
Hmm.
I might be like, hey, let's try 3 hours tomorrow, right? Let's see if we can get to 3 hours with your dog in the crate with it shut, with you gone. Um, but I would never be like, hey, your dog's been in there for 2 hours with no crying. Let's go to 8 hours, like it
Hmm.
would just be a slow process as opposed, I mean, like, somebody might be like, oh my God, my dog's doing so well. I don't need any more training sessions. And you're like, well, actually, you probably need like 2 more because training doesn't end when that day you hit the result. It ends like, 2 weeks after you hit that result because
Hmm.
the dog's not going to be like, oh, I know how to sit now. I'm just going to sit for the rest of my life. They still need a little bit of, whether it's treats or whatever, they still need something to continue on for the rest of their life. We
Yep.
don't change habits overnight. So, no, I would never be like, hey, we're doing great with this. Let's just intensify it and see if we can live our lives. I'd slowly work up to it.
No, you go. Yeah, no, slowly or surely.
Yeah.
It's just about that. Let's see. What do owners do during the time until she's comfortable in the crate? Owner is stuck at home for 3 days. Dog does not eat meals in crate. Well, probably Emily, like seeing how the dog is a hound, he is
Yeah.
she. I'm sure we can like I would like for me, I would just answer like give good stuff in the crate, Kongs, bully sticks, all that,
Yeah.
and then like how Liz was like saying, you do small sessions where you put the dog in the crate, you leave, then come
Yep.
back, and then just you start with just being in the same room, then you maybe leave the room, then come back, and like I'm just spouting, I'm just repeating what Liz said, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just like it's just like it really depends. So it's like, um, yeah, I'm like I think that hound with that client, I think it's gonna take a little bit of time before that dog is gonna get really
Yeah.
really make some progress, but it's gonna be a lot of work, I have to say. Thank God I don't have a dog with separation anxiety. I'm
It's the
like
worst.
I'm like with all like I don't know, like I know you're super busy, but it's like I've never been so busy
Yeah.
before COVID. COVID's like everyone's getting dogs and everyone's stuck at home with their dogs. It's been insane.
I have like 6 puppies in training right now, so
Yeah, for real, it's just
everybody
crazy.
got a puppy.
It's crazy. Hey Jason, how's it going? What if the owner leaves? Yeah, Emily, like we sort of went through this, but basically like they're gonna have to budget for like daycare or maybe like walking or something. Like if you just like when we finish, you can rewind it back to when we talked about it, so this way you can get to it.
You can also message me too.
You can also message Liz, because we're all good trainers here.
Yeah.
We're not all our um all our advice is not forbidden
Yeah.
or secret. So it's like the more we share, the more we can help
We're
dogs. And
competitive people.
exactly, I know it's like I don't worry about you. I actually try to send people to you that are in Nevada.
Yeah.
I'm just like no, that's too far of a commute for me. Go to Liz. She's
I
she's
do that
got
for you too.
yeah. I appreciate it. Let's see. Yay for She said, "Yay for COVID pups, job security for a while."
Yeah.
Yo, and then oh my elementary school teacher is watching too. That's funny.
Oh, that's so funny.
But let's do it. Emily, I'll tag you with her so then you guys can connect. So Liz is really good with her stuff. So I really appreciate her time coming up here and sharing this knowledge. Because now it's more toolbox. There's another thing to add to my toolbox, and
Totally.
yeah. Worst case scenario is like I might message you more. I might bug you. Just
Go for it.
be like, Liz, I got this dog. I don't know what to do. I
You also
tried.
check out the new facility too.
Oh yeah, that's definitely really cool. I think yeah, I can see us doing something really cool and getting some clients over there and just
Yeah. Totally.
more revenue. Again, workshops. We get we gotta help some people in workshops.
Yep.
Like Larry, if you're watching this or like right now when we do your interview, we're making you come up here. We're gonna buy you wine. We're gonna do all that stuff for you.
Yes,
So
we are.
all right. So yeah, I mean, otherwise, is there anything else we wanted to add about that? Like I think it was pretty much like it's not gonna be an easy process.
Yeah. It's definitely worth it though.
It's worth it. I mean, our dogs are worth it.
Totally.
I mean, kids and people, we have our own issues too.
Yeah.
We work through it as well. Um, Thank you, Sandra. Glad you could watch it. Sorry, I can't English. It's been a long day for both of us. Like Liz
Yeah.
just got back. I just got back.
Totally.
The hardworking California trainer, man. It's just
Yeah, I know.
yeah. Sorry, Cassandra. Glad you're watching this. This is like glad you're watching this video. So, okay, cool. So, again, let's give a shout out for Liz from Postmark Kennels at Nevada. If you're local down there, or if she like right now, what are you offering for the public? Are you doing group classes? I know you're doing like agility, right?
Yes, we have agility, basic puppy, adult puppy, day training, private training, board and train. And then in the next 2 weeks, dock diving will start too. So
Oh,
yeah,
oh, snap, sweet. See, day training, like daycare, like all of it right there. Like for all you people with Nevada, Novata with separation anxiety dogs. You go to her.
Yeah.
She's got it all. So,
Figure it out.
right? Get your wallets ready. So,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you guys for thank you for everyone that's watching, that just gave us some questions and commented. Again, shout out to Liz for taking some time out of her busy schedule to share her knowledge with us. And again, feel free to message us privately, or just feel free to reach out if you need help.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'd be happy to help. Again, like I just learned all this, so probably Liz would be the one that you would probably message for a lot more than me, but we're both available. So
Yep, we are.
awesome. Well, thank you guys, and we'll see. The next one coming up, I think it will be on Monday with Martin, and we're going to talk about more behavior stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to put this on YouTube as well. So all right, guys, everyone have a good night.
Thank you.